Tuesday is election day, and one of the races that touches all the communities is the choice of two candidates to fill the vacancies on the Illinois Valley Community College Board of Trustees. There are three candidates. It's a nonpartisan election. The candidates are Bill Hunt, Marlene Masaga, and Todd Volker. And earlier this month, they took part in a candidates forum at Illinois Valley Community College. And you saw part of that a couple of weeks ago, and today you're going to see the second part. The health of IVCC is directly tied to the health of the community, so right now it's more important than ever that we make informed decisions when we decide which two candidates will win election to the IVCC Board of Trustees on Tuesday. Thanks Kathleen Wayland of Wayland Financial at 128 Buckland in LaSalle for her sponsorship. At this point in the forum, the candidates were asked what they saw as the school's greatest challenge and greatest opportunity.
Well, biggest challenge, I think, is unfortunately our present climate of uncertainty. If you think of an educational system as a machine, and a machine that has many gears that work together, right? And if you fracture one of those gears, I'm speaking from my husband's mechanical engineering experience, all of a sudden the whole machine is not working very well. In fact, no longer efficient, and maybe even completely breaks down. So one of the things, the challenge I think is moving forward in the new environment that we're facing with a new federal administration, significant changes to departments, for instance, the Department of Education that educational community has come to rely upon. And what does that mean? So you need a steady leadership, a captain at the helm, but you need everybody rowing in synchronization, right? The 7 board members, etc. Because we got to keep things steady. And the reason why? Because you are the reason why we are here. If students and the community did not support this institution, it would all go up in a puff of smoke. So we are indebted to you. You are our bosses. So I think just continuing to provide the range of programs and make them, as I said before, accessible, affordable, and maintaining the highest quality possible. That's one of the hallmarks of this institution, and that absolutely has to be preserved. Todd?
Yeah, I think demographics are destiny, and if you look at the situation facing the state of Illinois, you're going to see that there are fewer and fewer high school graduates happening, and it's going to be a massive drop in the near future in the next 15 years. So the school will need to adjust to that, regardless of what we up here say. There are just fewer warm bodies to fill those seats. So that's why I think I stress marketing, and I think our areas, that's the challenge. Okay, the challenge is frankly that we need students, we need a continuing stream of students. Enrollment's been good this year, but we got to keep that up and pay attention to that enrollment challenge. And it's happening to all community colleges across Illinois, especially Illinois, because Illinois has had out-migration that's affected it more than other states. And I think Trace is apprised of that sort of a thing too. The opportunity here that I see is our market doesn't have a 4-year institution. We don't have a small college or a large public university here. So we're able to tap into additional potential bodies of student groups, non-traditional sorts of students. People who may have had some college, but can be induced to come here to finish up their degree. I think also with tighter connections to employers, you're going to find more use of training resources here, and that's a very good thing. I'm currently Economic Development Director at Kendall County, and what I see there at Wabunsee and with Joliet Junior College, there's an increasing effort to reach businesses because of that training aspect. But that's the opportunity. Geographically, we're in a good location for dealing with that challenge of the enrollment problem.
Bill?
Like both Todd and Linda have articulated, we do have a shrinking base of students coming out of the high schools. However, we can also have a growing base of people going out for trade schools. We need to keep moving forward with expanding our trade school programs where people are going back into the workforce or want to transition after working in another field for several years. I think that's an important thing. I think that the administration has been spot on adjusting to that. And we need to make sure that we're offering the classes that, like I had said earlier, that are needed in the area so we don't have the brain drain. So when students come out of here, whether they're 20 years old or they're 40 years old, that they have a skill set that matches the marketplace. I think that's one of our biggest challenges here. I think we're on the right track for that. And again, as Marlene said, we're going to have to navigate an incoming administration to see what happens there, and we need to be prepared. One of the hallmarks, I think, of this college is that we always seem to have a plan. There is always a plan in place. And when we do things do come up here that are outside the norm, there's always a group of people that will come back and make sound decisions to protect the institution. Thank you.
Now here's the big question. Where do you stand on book bans?
I didn't tell you where I got my degree in. I was a double major in political science and philosophy. If you're in philosophy, and I got a graduate degree in philosophy, so don't hit me. But if you're in philosophy, you love open discussion, you love dialogue, you love crazy ideas, you love bad ideas, you love poor ideas. You want to discuss them. You want to open freely. Academic freedom is one of the wonderful prerogatives of being at IVCC. You can walk into a classroom and say crazy stuff. If you got a bad idea, the chances are good that people are going to say, hey, that's a bad idea, here's why. Okay? Philosophy is all about that. So book bans are crazy because if you want book bans, that blocks free speech, that blocks free thinking. Okay? That's what I think about book bans. Period.
Bill.
I just say no to book bans. It's
There you go.
important that information is out there. People can go any place they want to find their answers. To have a book ban is to say that your idea is not worth it. So I spend 9 hours a week at the Oglesby Public Library. I got to tell you, having kids come in and you see a kid get their brand new library card and they pick out a book for the first time and watching their face light up as they begin to explore what's in that book. The idea that you would somehow have a group or somebody would say, these books aren't worth reading. Everything is worth reading. It's how you interpret it. So I say no to book bans.
Linda Marlene.
A famous science fiction author who was born in Illinois, Ray Bradbury, wrote a seminal work of fiction, Fahrenheit 451. And it revolved around this question in a rather dramatic fashion. The main character was a fireman whose job was to burn banned books. I read that when I was 12, 13, and it left a lasting impression. I thought it was absurd that could never happen. And then, as I grew into adulthood and loved history and literature, I learned about periods in the history of the world, Nazi Germany, where there were public spectacles, pyres of flaming books. Now, we don't live in those days, thankfully. But we know that things like that have happened. It's not just in science fiction writers' minds. And so, absolutely, that is anathema to who I am and to my own personal philosophy.
And be sure to vote this weekend. Listen to the returns as they come in. We're going to be broadcasting live on election night. You'll be able to hear it on the air and on the app, WLPO. Thanks again to Kathleen Whalen for paying for this weekend update, and I'll talk to you in the morning.